Very much, D-Man and Kobe. I'm super happy with how you ended that matchup because this is exactly what we wanted to talk about. It will be a recurring trend as long as we continue to see these lane swaps. Monty, early game, who came out better? Was it SKT or TPA?
It was definitely SKT, and even though they lost the early tower up in top lane faster due to Jinx Leona, it was calculated. We see them send 3 back, and it comes down to the team composition. When you have that Lucian and Karma, there were only 2 choices for TPA to make. Either they send the AD carry and support into that bottom lane, in which case Jinx Leona will just get poked out by Lucian Karma early, and they'll be able to eventually take the tower. Also, Lucian was left farming, so he got a big CS lead. So actually, by preserving the tower, they concentrated CS onto Lucian because he didn't have to go back to win that lane against Jinx Leona early because of the poke. You go back at 6 when Leona has her ultimate and that all-in potential is there. You buy items, and then you have an item advantage via the power spike. So actually, SK Telecom T1 K played it out beautifully, just given that. And if they hadn't sent Jinx Leona down there, well, Lucian would have gotten the tower and everything would have been even. So really, it was just great, I think, decision-making by SKTK.
Yeah, I agree with the fact that SKT played their strategy perfect. That I agree with. At the same time, though, TPA could have played theirs better. When you do these lane swap, you need to have a couple like check marks. Like, first tower goes down, then you need to compare what's happening on the other side of the map. TPA could clearly see that SKT didn't have that first tower low. At that point, they should have just sent their bot lane back immediately. That was the only play left for them to do. What they ended up doing was tunneling on that 4v0 push, pushing into the tier 2 tower, and then they reacted by, okay, what do we do now? Okay, we need to send somebody bottom. Let's send Lee Sin bottom. They burn the TP. Lee Sin is useless against the Lucian because he'll get poked out. And then eventually they sent their bottom lane bottom. And then on top of that, they should have had jungle pressure because the way the matchup works, as Mani said, Leona 1 to 6 does not do well against the Karma, but with jungle pressure, they can put pressure enough to prevent SKT from getting an early BF sword on the Lucian, because that's what they did. They had the favorable laning phase. Even though there were items down, they said, well, no, our composition is way better than our opposition's. We'll farm until BF swords, and then we'll completely wreck this lane. So I still don't agree that SKT's strategy was better, but I do agree that they executed flawlessly, and TPA did not.
Yeah, because worth pointing out that when you got to the 2v2 lane, you've got a 2v2 lane with basically equal levels. Leona got boots of speed, so she can get in there for the engages. So if you've got an Elise coming in, you're going to CC the Karma or the Lucian, which happened. You saw them do a 2-on-2 all-in, and okay, they lost the fight because of champions, right? You have double longsword on Jinx as well. Like, they recalled back, had same gold, showed up into the lane with more items, and like, these are the elements of which to win
Lucian
a fight.
stayed, actually. Lucian actually did not get a base.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, the TPA sent 2 guys top, they recalled, and showed up to lane, and you have a guy who's 2 longswords up in lane against you. You should be able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, but you bring up the point of bringing the jungler down for that extra kill pressure in the bottom lane, but at that point TPA had already really made up their mind that they were going to try and deal with Faker in the mid lane, both through heavy trading over CS from Morning, as well as just sending him there, blowing the summoner spells and all of that. And that's what's so scary about SKTK, though, is you can shut down Faker. Teams have tried to do this, but there's always someone else on this team to pick up the slack.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it really felt like SK Telecom just continued to grow their lead. They weren't necessarily doing massive plays, but they just kept growing a gold lead, they grew a kill lead. They had a very good map presence and control as the game went on, regardless of the fact that TPA did manage to shut down Faker early. They put some pressure on him, some individual plays.
Well, yes, they forced his flash, they killed him with the gank, but he actually was ahead in farm throughout the entire game because Morning focused more on hitting Faker than actually taking CS. So Faker managed to do well. Actually, I believe by the 20-minute mark, he was 50 CS ahead or something. So he did well, even though he was pressured early. And SKT in general, the entire game here, they were just one step ahead of TPA. I mean, whenever TPA would start a fight in mid lane, there would just be 2 or 3 members up in top lane, taking the tower, quickly moving around the map here. And it meant also because SKT had a very good late game comp, that TPA needed to do something. They tried to group up in mid lane. SKT just went behind them, flanked them, and won the team fight.
Well, as a closing thought, that first pick, Lee Sin, really did not work out for them. We want to check in on the conversation that's going on over at Twitter. Earlier today, we asked you, which team do you think will win the All-Star 2014 Invitational? We've seen some of the games. Now let's sample some of the answers that you've sent in. From a solitary llama, I'm going to go with the wild card. I think Fnatic will win All-Star due to having the crowd behind them every step of the way. Crowd didn't help all that much earlier. What do you think, Fischer?
Not the best start, obviously, if you want to win everything. But I think, as Dexter also said in his interview, actually, first game, it doesn't matter all. It's not everything. The first game here, Fnatic can still bounce back, and as long as they can go back and watch the game they just played here and see what mistakes they made and maybe fix them, they can still win. It's going to be very, very hard, though.
We'll have to see. It's top 4 teams of the 5 that advanced. Next one comes to us from @ScottPantera. I think OMG will win. Remember, they are the only team to take a game from SKT at Worlds, and they are 1-0 up in the group stage. What do you think, Freak?
I think OMG, they're still strong. You saw SKT bit off way more than they can chew. Like, they had a lot of really weird engages. Like, I still think they're a little bit weak here. OMG was on point. They played their style. We saw it in game 1. They're still awesome.
Oh, we'll see how it works out. Next one comes to us from @CJDavis86. He says, SK Telecom T1 all day. Faker, Pumandu, Piglet, the plays, the feels, the Baron, the strategy. They got it all. I'm going to give this one to Krepo.
Yeah, well, not much left to say after he did everything. But to touch on Freak's point, while, yeah, SKT had a little, as Monty likes to say, micro-level mistakes, but on the macro level of the game, their strategy was solid. And if we looked at OMG, they left some gaping holes in their strategy. And I think SKT T1 is more than willing to fill them.
Well, we'll see if they can make that work. Next one comes to us from @TenzoLol. I think C9 has something to prove to everyone outside of North America after Worlds. All aboard the C9 hype train and get well high. Care to comment on that one, Monty, as the conductor of the largest hype train in existence?
Well, I mean, the C9 hype train is only relevant in North America, as we've seen. So, I mean, I do think I have hopes for C9 here in the tournament, and especially after seeing these first couple games, I think it gives a good indicator, and I think C9 can still place well.
Yeah, they will be playing against Fnatic in the next match. We'll see how well they perform. The last tweet comes from @BeyondTartarus. Nobody thought TPA would win Worlds. Shouldn't count them out again. While I do agree with you, unfortunately, they will have to bounce back from a pretty heavy loss that they just suffered. Thank you very much for those tweets, guys. They were great, but we want more of those sweet tweets. So send them to @LOLesports and use that hashtag AllStar. All right, coming up, we've got a battle of the LCS teams as Fnatic and Cloud9 take to the Rift. And there's been a wave of LCS news in the last couple of weeks with very big roster changes. TSM has signed Amazing from the Copenhagen Wolves as their new jungler. The Odd One will be taking over as the team's coach. Glebe Glarbu was selected to take over as the team's support because Xpecial was benched. However, Xpecial was picked up by Curse, and Dignitas themselves have joined in. They signed Zion Spartan and Shifter as their new top laner and mid from the recently relegated Coast. Not to let all the fun stay with North America, Alex Sitch has officially left Gambit. He's joined the European Challenger team, Ninjas in Pajamas, leaving a very big hole in the mid lane for Gambit. Those are only a few of the numerous changes to the LCS as teams prepare for the summer split, and with a few weeks before it starts, we can expect more. Shocks will be talking to Diamond about that big change for Gambit in just a few moments. But first, let's prepare for the battle between North American and European LCS teams as Cloud9 takes on Fnatic. As we go to the break,